Thank you, everyone. So first of all, I just want to sort of thank Mark and UK Biobank for inviting me to be a part of this session. I'm super excited to sort of discuss what we're doing with UK Biobank and how we're supporting the amazing efforts that they've been doing for the past several decades. I'll take the first slide. Oh, I think that's on me. So today what I'm going to go over is really an overview of the research analysis platform that we've built for UK Biobank. I'm going to talk about sort of just giving you an overview of the function of it, how it actually works, talk about we launched in September 28th, 2021. So I'll talk about what we've done to date since that actual public launch. And then I'll talk a little bit about sort of what we're actually looking to do as we move forward. So maybe just to start, so DNAnexus, I think many of you are sort of very familiar with our company, but just as a very high level, very quick overview, we're a cloud-based bioinformatics analysis company, and because we work with some of the largest sort of healthcare regulators, top academic as well as top industry members in our industry, we actually have quite leading edge security and compliance that actually makes us extremely important for some of the things that we're doing with UK Biobank and the researchers. We have tens of thousands of users. We have probably one of the largest amounts of data, healthcare data in the world on our platform. We're global. We have lots of capabilities across the platform. And we're also very, very much leaning into sort of multimodal data analysis, which again is quite key for the work at UK Biobank. But last but not least, and this is actually quite key to our work, is that we have a very deep pool of talent that really allows us to lean into some of the most hairy questions of large-scale data analysis. And so we thought about all of these assets, bringing them to the challenges that UK Biobank was facing as they began to scale, as they began to acquire more data, and also had this very deep value around democratizing the access to data. How do you really ensure that all researchers, all bona fide researchers across the world can have access to this data, regardless if they have a high performance computing environment, or what their server setup is, or what their cloud access is, or what their resources are? The solution was really to have this cloud-based platform where the data could be served up, especially the large-scale data, could be served up to researchers around the world. And that's effectively what we've built. We have a cloud-based infrastructure. We've leveraged this sort of all-in-one solution where we have the cloud, we have the UK Biobank data, and we have the tools. So it's really sort of a one-stop shop, and that's really what we're looking to make it and to continue to evolve it to be at the very cutting edge. We talked about sort of the compliance piece already, but again, really want to sort of touch on this piece around the scalability and the ability to make sure that this is used for all types of researchers. And again, as we talk about some of the work that's been done over this past year, I think you'll see why those pieces are so very important. So what does this actually look like? So this is a very high level view of our architecture. So we have sort of this interface, and that interface is actually quite important because this is the actual interface that allows us, our DNAnexus platform architecture, to ping the UK Biobank architecture to say, is this actually a bona fide researcher? Have they actually been provided access and approved to have access to UK Biobank data? So that's one of the first and key things that we do. And it's key too because it's not a yes or no answer. Especially if any of you are actually researchers, you might know this. It's what has this user been approved for what amount of data or what types of data. And so getting not just sort of the who, yes or no, but the who and the what right is what that interface allows us to do. We then have a number of other things within the architecture. Again, we have the suite of tools that people can leverage. We also have the ability for people to either access the platform via a web interface, sort of a GUI, or a command line. And we know those are very important for our researchers because there are different people who have different preferences. Some people definitely want to be in command line, and other people just really want to have that web access. So providing both of those options was really important as well. And then there are a number of other things too that are actually quite important because they actually really allow for collaboration across different users. And that collaboration piece is something I'll also be coming back to. This again is effectively sort of our one pager for the platform. we are really excited about sort of it being the all-in-one. The other thing that we're actually really excited about too is really being able to enable this collaboration. And again, you're enabling collaboration based on who and what for each one of those collaborators. And again, because it's in the cloud, whether you're collaborating within your own organization or you're collaborating with someone in another organization in another part of the world, the application, the platform still allow you to do that easily. So what does this actually look like? So this is one of the first pages that you would see when you open the platform. This is where you would actually put in your actual UKB researcher ID. You would do that, and then a one click of a button, you would sort of dispense the data that you've been approved for. And based on sort of the UKB data model structure, the data is then dispensed into folders that are appropriate. From that point, you can then start using the tools from our tool suite to do your analysis. This is also point 2 where you could do that and or pull in your own tools and do your own type of analysis or own sort of customized driven analysis. The other part of the platform that actually is one of our most used aspects of it is the cohort browser. So when you're thinking about sort of 500,000 participants and trying to understand what part of this data do I need to pull through and how do I actually figure that out, the cohort browser is an amazing first step in allowing you to do that. Because you can sort of look at the different demographic profiles or other variables and say, I'm interested in, for example, men within this age that have these markers. And the cohort browser pulls out that segment specifically for you. So it allows you and your collaborators to create the cohorts that are most relevant for your research topic. And this is what we found users tell us is this is a great place to do their work, and then sometimes a great way to sort of launch their work so they can go even deeper. Another way, I think one of the key things here is that what we've tried to do with the platform is to really address the diverse needs of our researchers. And Mark talked about this a little bit, from the clinicians, the epidemiologists, the biologists, and so the hardcore bioinformaticians. We really know that we need a platform where everyone could sort of customize their path to do their research. And with our different tools and with the different assets of the platform, that's what we look to create, and that's what we're looking to continue to evolve and to continually create with the researcher community. Again, I'm not going to repeat myself yet again, but this is sort of the overview of it. But what have we been doing to date? So again, we launched this back in the fall of 21. A lot of these, if you were in Mark's earlier conversation, keynote, you probably saw some of these stats. I've updated them a little because they are constantly changing. But we are at over 3,300 researchers on the platform. We do have, as Mark mentioned, we have actually a very conservative estimate, sort of 500 active users on a month-to-month basis. We also have over 27 now. The team told me we actually have 31 petabytes of data on the platform. And the user group is growing at quite a steady pace, month over month. And again, we've had almost 5-fold since we launched. We've had 12 data releases last year, and we're extremely excited about some of the key ones that we're looking at this year, including the proteomics, including the single-cell RNA-seq, and of course, the 500K whole genome sequence that's coming later this year as well. And so this is sort of what we've done, but there's still quite a lot to do as well. The features. One of the key things, I'll talk about this in the next slide even more, is that we're really looking to understand, so we rolled it out, but clearly we're software providers, we want to be able to iterate on this. So what's actually needed that's next? And from listening to the users, what we've heard is that a number of things we needed to tweak. And so over the past year, we've done exactly that. We've refined some of the tools that were available, we've rolled out some additional tools, and then we've also just engaged users in a different way. And that's what we're seeing sort of in these features. These are all things that were really driven by sort of user engagement. And that user engagement is something that we actually have very specifically tailored on our community forum, where users come, they can ask questions. Our team goes into the community forum and answers those questions. But more excitingly, we actually have users actually also helping users. We have users actually posting their tutorials about this is how I actually did my work on UK Biobank Wrap. And actually just this past week, we actually had one user who posted a new tutorial around hail. And we're just super excited about this because this is really what we want to do. We're excited about being able to really help researchers accelerate their research. And we really think one of the best ways to do that is to have them sort of interact with one another for us to watch and figure out what we need to do next. And so this community forum is a key part of how we're looking to engage, but also to empower users on the platform. I'll also mention two other things. So we mentioned earlier the whole exome sequence release, as well as the 200K whole genome release. And both of these were historic releases. The work that the funders, the work that UK Biobank has done is really sort of second to none in this regard. They were the single largest releases in history ever. And I think when we start thinking about that for our platform, one of the things that's exciting for us that's really hard to demonstrate is just the importance of having a strong, solid, robust technology infrastructure that, again, goes back to that secure compliance piece. Because, again, the 200K whole genomes that were released on the platform, the largest single release ever, was released on the platform to not just a single entity, but to users around the world in different organizations, academic organizations, government institutions, and commercial entities. And there were no performance issues, there were no privacy concerns, and there were no security issues. And that just sort of speaks to the robustness of our back end, of our technology infrastructure that you just must have. And because, again, it was the first ever, managing this size data, managing with appropriate controls and access, is not insignificant or trivial at all. And I just really thank my technology team because they're truly second to none in really enabling this. And I think as you sort of heard me talk about, it's not just the platform, the technology is the most important thing clearly, but what we're also looking to do is create an entire end-to-end solution for researchers to be enabled to do the best research possible. So I talked about the user community. I talked a little bit just now about sort of the data operations and what it actually takes to manage the size of data that we're managing. We also have a user support and success team that's extremely committed to our users. They also work on our community forum. And then we have this product evolution that's really built into sort of listening to users as well. And then we also think about, honestly, what's the messaging that's needed? Who should we be talking to, and what do they need to hear, and what do we need to understand about them? And so we're really looking at this as sort of a 360 view, all truly centered around our users. And so what that also means, too, is because the users are different, we also have different solutions for different users. This is one example of that. So these are some of our webinars and workshops. We know some people are very focused sort of on their disease type. They're a cardiovascular person, they're a cancer person, or a glioblastoma person, or very specific. And so what we've rolled out are some trainings to help people understand if you're this type of researcher or doing this type of research, these are the kind of things that you may want to think about as you're engaging with the platform. The other thing that we've also done too is sort of very specific tools. We have sort of Whittle, we have Docker, we have Regini, we have very specific tool tutorials as well to help people understand how to actually use this tool for this type of research. And then again, we also have sort of a general sense of like, let me take you through the pathway of sort of A to Z, how you would get something done on the platform. And again, this is just sort of an example. We actually have a YouTube channel, if you're interested, with over, I believe, over 20 different tutorials, several of which have over sort of 3,000 views. So we really think that these tutorials are having a huge impact, and we're hitting the right message, again, enabling researchers to do their best research. This is a community forum, which again I've talked about a lot, so I won't sort of continue to talk about it. But again, this is where we've had researchers, even sort of actually from Aidan's team and other teams, where they've actually posted some of their tutorials and some of their notebooks, again, to share with the community so that others can build on their work. So what's next for us? The short answer is just more of everything. So we're definitely looking to increase the user base, but with that, we're not just looking to increase the numbers of users, we're really looking to increase user engagement. We're really looking to increase sort of how much we hear and how much we engage with users to be able to be as responsive as possible. The second thing, we're really excited about the upcoming data that we have coming into the platform. Again, these will be really historic releases this year, and so we're prepping for that. And what that means for us is we're thinking about what are all of the things that a researcher would need to do to appropriately and maximally engage with the proteomics data that's going to be released, with the whole genome data that's going to be released, et cetera. So again, it's not just looking at having the data released in the platform, which again is not insignificant, but what are all the other pieces that will surround the user and that data that will make the user as successful as possible. And then of course, sort of just evolving the platform. Again, what are the new features? What else needs to happen with the platform? And then, of course, launching solutions. That's sort of anything that our users need to, again, to be as successful as possible. And I believe my time is up, but I'll just give a plug in to, if you are interested in joining the conversation, please join us on the community. We also are looking to launch sort of user groups. So if you're interested in that, please also reach out to me, or you can go here as well. And then I think we've also talked about the amazing contribution that AWS has done to help researchers too, especially early career researchers and researchers in low and middle income countries. And with that, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Asha. That was terrific. I think one of the points I think we sometimes lose track of is just the work that goes into this.